Hello everybody, this is Karmasco018, and this is going to be my thoughts and recap for Toradora episode 23. 2 more episodes to go, guys, before I am done with this show. Things get interesting in this episode. First off, Ryuji and Taiga haven't figured out their career choices because, like I thought, in the last episode, they've still got 1 year before they graduate. Because the teacher actually mentioned it in this episode, so if I had just waited till this episode, I would have had my answer. But, yeah. They essentially, if they don't figure it out, then they can't, take the necessary classes that they'll need, I'm guessing. Like, let's say you want to go into a certain field, then they'll give you, like, the basic classes that you'll need to start that program or whatever. I assume that's what they're talking about. It would make sense. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah, if they don't figure it out, then they might end up in, like, some dead-end college or something, or just going for, like, a regular associate or something, and they might not be happy with their choice, and that's why the teacher's pushing them to make that choice, to figure out what they want to do, so that way they won't have any regrets. Taiga ends up, not giving a damn, obviously, and part of my language, but, yeah, that's actually how she feels. And she storms off and leaves. Ryuji ends up thinking about this, and I don't know what he ends up picking, to be completely honest. But he goes to bring his papers to the teacher's lounge to give to the teacher, and he sees Ami talking with some guy. And apparently, they're trying to get her to model the school uniform for next year, and she turned them down because she just didn't want to do it. And one thing leads to another, and for some strange reason, Ryuji throws her shoe out the door. I don't know why. I kind of skimmed through the episode a moment ago before I started recording this, just so I'd have an idea of what happened. That's why I'm fuzzy on some details. But he ends up finding out that she's thinking about transferring to a different school, not just because that was her original plan when she first started here because of the whole stalker thing, but because she's tired of seeing Taiga get hurt. And I swear, it isn't fat, and yet it looks that way. The only thing that's fat is this. Everything else, it just looks that way, yet it doesn't feel that way. It's weird. I assume it's because I got the fat down here, and it makes it look that way. See? It's just weird. It's just bugging me. Anyway, yeah. She ends up saying that she has been trying to help Taiga, and because she actually understands her, she's tired of Taiga getting hurt because of all this drama stuff going on, and that's why she's thinking about leaving, because she's tired of it. And Ryuji gets a call from Taiga, informing him that his mom either got sick or pushed herself too hard and collapsed. I assume it's the latter. And they put her to bed. The thing is, though, when I was watching this, Taiga had mentioned seeing her on the floor through her window. I'm like, hasn't she been on the floor before? Like in the first episode, he ended up almost, I think either almost stepped on his mom or she grabbed him before he left, and she was on the floor sleeping. So isn't that really hasn't that been a thing before, and hasn't that been worrisome? Or maybe it's because, sorry about that noise. Maybe it's because she hasn't done that in a while since Taiga started popping up, that it's not good now, I assume. Anyway, they essentially got her covered at both her jobs because she was supposed to go work 2 jobs, and I think she started another one, but we didn't see that yet until he went out to go try and get her some food, and he left without any of his stuff, like his wallet, his keys, his phone, his coat, his stuff, and Taiga runs after him and tries to give him his stuff. And essentially tries to find out what his problem is, because essentially his head is not screwed on straight at this point. And he gets mad because if he had been allowed to get a job to help pay the bills, his mom wouldn't have had to work so hard, and she wouldn't have pushed herself so hard, and she wouldn't have ended up in that situation. He's mad at himself because he never got a job, and because the fact that his mom told him he didn't need to get a job because she would handle it. I can understand wanting to provide for your kid, but once they get old enough to where they can and are able to get a job, they should be allowed to get a job if they want to, as long as it doesn't interfere with their schoolwork. You know? And if, they're not cut out for school, like some people aren't, and they, they drop out, they could get a job then. But, yeah, you should let them get a job if they want to, not just force them to not to. Because then you end up in that situation. And essentially they end up at the, what was it, the candy shop or something? And we find out that she was supposed to work there, and they have no one to cover her shift. Sorry, I had to burp. Anyway, Tiger offers to help sell the chocolates because it's starting to become Valentine's Day, I think. Or something. Anyway, they're trying to sell the chocolates for something. I assume it's because it's Valentine's Day, and, that's popping up, and usually people buy chocolates for their loved ones. And while they're trying to sell the chocolates, one of the guy friends, I can't remember what his name is, the guy with the blue hair, he pops up, and apparently he's got a girlfriend, which surprised me. But it's good that he's got one, because, everybody obviously deserves to be happy. And then that friend of theirs, the one that, with the weird-looking glasses, pops up, and he starts asking about the chocolates, and what I was actually thinking is actually confirmed in this, because he actually likes the girl that's been bugging about Kitamura being around Taiga so much, the orange-haired girl. Yeah, he likes her, like I thought, because, yeah, he might think that Taiga still likes Kitamura, but I don't think he would go to that extreme if that was the case, if it was just only that. But, yeah, it's actually confirmed because he starts getting red-faced and all flustered and everything. So, yeah, it is actually shown that he does like her. And that's why he's been so adamant about keeping her away from Kitamura, because he doesn't want her and Kitamura to end up together because he likes her. So that's part of the reason why he was all doing that, besides the whole Taiga thing. And since they're not really selling chocolates much, Taiga calls in Ami to try and get her, since she's a model and, well known in certain areas, that she could try and, be like a, try and advertise their chocolates, that she really likes them, and thus everybody would want to buy them. At first they don't get to convince her, but after a bit, she actually does start doing it. And they end up selling out on the chocolates, I think. Or at least selling their quota is what I think they did. Or, at the most, they sold them all. But, yeah, they ended up doing well. They got paid. And Taiga ended up getting some stuff. But the next day, or maybe not the next day, but later on in the episode, I don't know how far it is in the time, timeline-wise, but Taiga ends up giving everybody chocolates and made apparently some, especially for Kitamura, because apparently he was the one who saved her on the slopes back at the ski lodge. Obviously, Ryuji had come to him first after that whole thing happened and asked him to please play along and act like he was the one who saved Taiga, because to make her story true, because if she found out that Ryuji was the one who saved her, she might start thinking that maybe she did actually say something, and he heard it. Well, obviously everybody else had probably seen Ryuji bring Taiga in that day, so everybody but Taiga knows the truth. Minori ain't having it. She ain't having the fact that her friend is lying, is not really lying, but her friends are lying to Taiga. And tries to essentially tell Taiga that, how do I word this? That you shouldn't give up on what you want just for the happiness of somebody else. Essentially, she's trying to tell Taiga, don't give up on loving Ryuji just because you want me to end up with him. I pick my own happiness, and if I want to end up with Ryuji, that's my choice. But if I don't want to, because you love him more, then that is my choice, and you should respect it. That's essentially what she's telling Taiga. And she tries to get Ryuji to tell her the truth about what happened when she ended up getting hurt at the ski lodge. And that's actually where the episode ends. Yeah, I'm starting to understand Minori a bit better, because she essentially works hard because she wants to achieve her goals that she has in her mind. And apparently a relationship is not what she has in mind at this point, because that's actually something that's hard to see and hard to maintain. But getting a job, going to college, her stuff with the baseball teams, that stuff is attainable. That stuff you could actually see and attain. A relationship is really hard to do and really hard to maintain. So that's not her it's not something she could see. So she's not going after it at the moment. And also the fact that she doesn't really need it, apparently, to be happy. So, yeah, she's not really wanting that at the moment. But she knows that Taiga loves Ryuji. And she wants her friend to be happy with the one that she loves. Even if she does love Ryuji. Because Minori does love Ryuji. I'm not saying she doesn't. But she knows that her friend deserves Ryuji more. And loves him more. So she's going to step aside and let her friend have Ryuji. It's kind of like the whole Hikaru and Kaoru thing. Later on in High School Host Club. But we'll get to that when we get to that point. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction, because we only got 2 left before the show's done. And I will see everybody next time, because a lot of stuff's going to happen in the next episodes.